It makes business sense to focus on all aspects of, you have an asset, it's called a mountain. You've got uphill transportation, you've got base area facilities, lodges, rental shops, ski patrol, you name it. And so, and this infrastructure of talent. And so non-ski related revenue opportunities become, a focus because they make good business sense. And they leverage all the investment that you have in the other assets, at your mountain. So for us, it just makes tons of sense to look for every other avenue that we can, for revenue, for the guest experience. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest parts about this too, is the guest experience. And I am super passionate about growing the sport of skiing. That to me is the biggest opportunity that we have. So if there are things that we can do that serve kind of dual purposes, one, it expands our business. It also helps to grow the sport of skiing. I'm all in. It's a problem. It really is. Oh yeah. I mean, Ken mentioned it and it made a ton of sense, but he's right. That is, you get done with the ski season and, you're beginning middle of April. We have conferences at our resorts. We have weddings, meetings. We have all of our summer operations that have to get up and running, and by the third week in May, everything has to look beautiful. Flower beds need to be planted. All of the permits need to be obtained for all of our rides, and everything needs to be assembled, and staff needs to be hired, and marketing needs to make its churn. It's unreal, the amount of activity that you have to engage in to get yourself ready when ski season is ending, and most of our brothers in the industry are taking a deep breath and they're like, we're just getting ready for the next season. And then, September, October rolls around, we're still operating on the weekends with all of our summer attractions. We have got conferences and bus tours and weddings galore, and you name it. And then, we've got these haunts, these Gulag or 13 Nights, these Halloween type, scares. It's a big deal. And all of a sudden, before you know it, we're making snow, and there's just no shoulder season. So we go hard year round. And there's a downside to that. You can't be as well prepared as you would have been for your core competency. So that becomes an important thing to focus on. I think maybe some do. For some, it makes sense. It's really a valuable thing to do. They fit a market niche that makes sense. To put in a water park, or to put in an aerial adventure park, or a canopy tour, or a zip line, or something, or a whole bunch of stuff, kind of like what we've done. Yeah, in some areas it makes all the sense in the world. In other areas there may be, pick your attraction right down the street, and so it might make no sense. They might be better off to just stay focused on one thing and one thing only. So I don't want to categorically say, everybody should be into it. I do think we're seeing, and rightfully so, more and more resorts saying, how do we attract to a broader audience? That's key, because when you think about growth of the industry, you think about the market segments from, baby boomers, Gen Xers, millennials, Gen Z, this new generation, and you start to add all these up, we're talking about, hundreds of millions of people. And we've got to appeal to more than the 3.4% that we appeal to now. And how do we do that? Through these other things. We want to make sure that our guests have the best time, and a time that's tailored for them. Maybe it's more active type engagement or active fun or active play, like our aerial adventure park. Maybe it's a little bit more passive. Things like, the coaster, hugely attractive to our guests because they just have a blast doing it. They don't necessarily need skill, and yet in a moment they can be having the time of their life. And so we really look for things that are, high throughput. We can get a lot of people on them. We don't need a lot of staff. The capital investment is appropriate for the amount of throughput and the staffing. Getting that balancing point just right, it's tricky. And the mountain coaster for us is one of those areas that, boy, it really hits that sweet spot nicely. We might look to have a several-year payback. Others may be looking for, a year and a half, 2 years. We tend to take the longer view, and for a whole host of reasons, we're in this for the long term. And I don't see a way that you can be thinking super short term when you're looking in this industry. So I may look a little further out, but still, at this rate, some of the kinds of attractions we're looking at, 2, 3, 4 years is a pretty normal payback at this point. So